Welcome back to Crime Documentary Files. Today we'll explore the case of a vice president at the Sichuan Conservatory of Music. While outwardly appearing as an exemplary educator, he was secretly a predator. For his personal gain, he crushed the musical dreams of countless students. The Sichuan Conservatory of Music, also known as SCCM, is a prestigious institution in China. It gained particular fame during the era of shows like Supergirl and Superboy, similar to American Idol, producing many talented contestants who later became famous singers, enhancing the school's reputation. However, no one could have predicted that in 2015, the school would be rocked by a major scandal. The incumbent party secretary and vice president was accused of sexual misconduct, allegedly having inappropriate relationships with over 80 female faculty members and students. During his tenure, he had complete control over the conservatory's admission process. He abused this power to control the musical careers of countless young students. Some were forced to offer themselves in exchange for opportunities. Today, we'll examine the case of Yongbai and see how his story ends. Yongbai was born into a poor family in a remote village in Nanbu County, Nanchang City, Sichuan Province. This was an impoverished area with poor transportation and isolated from the outside world. Although his family had 6 children and struggled to survive on just a few acres of farmland in a society that favored sons over daughters, his parents still managed to provide him with adequate food and clothing. They constantly encouraged him to study hard, hoping he could escape poverty and make something of himself. While Chai wasn't naturally gifted, he possessed extraordinary determination. This was most evident in 1977 when China reinstated its college entrance examinations. He took the test but failed. Determined to study medicine, he studied for another year but failed again. Despite everyone's advice to give up, Chai persisted for 8 years, causing the entire village to gossip about his obsession. Finally, at age 29, his persistence paid off when he was admitted to the North Sichuan Medical College, bringing pride to himself and his family. North Sichuan Medical College was located in Nanchang City. Though not far from his hometown, being accepted there marked a crucial turning point in Chai's life. He had finally escaped his impoverished mountain village. After 8 years of persistence, Chai placed all his hopes in this institution, believing it would be where his medical dreams would come true. With its nationally renowned clinical medicine department, he firmly believed he could achieve his medical aspirations. 3 years later, Chai graduated with excellence. At that time, under China's system, college graduates were assigned jobs by the state. Chai naturally assumed he would be assigned to a hospital. However, fate played a cruel trick. He was assigned to the Sichuan Provincial Department of Education. Although this was a coveted workplace for many, his position was merely a junior supply department administrator, a role with little visibility. Most significantly, this job had nothing to do with medicine, making it impossible for him to pursue his original dream. With a burning desire to transfer, Chai, being clever and perceptive, quickly learned how things worked in government offices. He understood that to get things done, one needed to know how to handle relationships with superiors, from dinner invitations to gifts, leaving nothing out. Before long, Chai seized his opportunity, skillfully showing his sincerity to leadership, and as desired, was transferred to the North Sichuan Medical College. Returning to his alma mater, Chai was overjoyed. It was here that he learned a valuable lesson. In society, relationships often matter more than professional competence. After grasping this concept, Chai spared no expense in taking care of his superiors. The results were impressive. Within just a few years, he was promoted to vice president of North Sichuan Medical College, a remarkable career advancement. Moreover, his role reversal was evident as he became the one receiving gifts and flattery. People would follow him daily, seeking his favor. Gradually, in this environment of money and power, he lost his way. Did he still remember his original medical dream? The answer was no. For Chai, money became everything. Wherever he could make money became his career path. In 2001, after some political maneuvering, Chai was transferred to the Sichuan Conservatory of Music as vice president. After Chai took office, doubts arose within the school as he had absolutely no musical background. Even more shocking, 4 years later, Chai was promoted again, becoming the party secretary of the Sichuan Conservatory of Music, the highest administrative position. That same year, he was also appointed as a graduate advisor for art theory. It was hard to imagine how someone with a medical background could teach art theory to graduate students. But did that matter to him? Chai flattered his superiors and ignored criticism and even mockery from his subordinates. As long as he could maintain his position, he could get everything he wanted. To establish academic credibility, Chai published 5 works, including articles in national core journals, and won numerous awards. He accumulated prestigious titles, including being named a State Council Special Allowance Expert, Sichuan Province Academic and Technical Leader, and even achieved the highest title in Chinese art education, Level 2 Professor. Industry insiders knew that when leaders published books, the order of authors was determined by rank and power, with the actual authors always listed last. This was common practice. Chai never focused on actual academic research. During his more than 10 years in this position, he frantically accumulated wealth, turning what should have been a pure educational institution into a den of corruption. The admission process at the conservatory differed from regular college admissions. It required both academic scores from the National College Entrance Exam and specialized artistic ability test scores. The artistic tests were conducted first, with candidates' fates lying in the hands of interview judges. Chai turned what should have been a fair and just examination system into a marketplace. During this period, paying approximately $30,000 for an undergraduate spot became an open secret. Meanwhile, truly talented young musicians without financial means were shut out. One former applicant recalled receiving a call from the conservatory's admissions office. The caller brazenly demanded money, stating that each point below the cutoff would cost $4,500, and spots were limited, so quick decisions were needed. In this chain of admissions corruption, external music training centers also acted as intermediaries. The vocal department would admit students through these centers, with the cost of obtaining an admission certificate essentially being indirect bribes to the judges. It's worth noting that after the popularity of shows like Supergirl in 2006 and Superboy in 2007, China's versions of American Idol, professional institutions like the Sichuan Conservatory of Music and Shenyang Conservatory of Music became extremely desirable, recognized by parents and students as breeding grounds for artists. This led to fierce competition for admission, and correspondingly, the costs demanded by these institutions skyrocketed. For example, in 2017, while the conservatory planned to admit 3,000 students, there were 100,000 applicants. One can imagine how valuable an admission ticket became. Additionally, Chai held significant financial power within the school. He collected substantial kickbacks from various construction projects. In 2003, Chai became acquainted with a construction company owner named Yang. Over 10 years, Yang won numerous construction contracts for the conservatory, including dining halls, academic buildings, and dormitories. Chai received approximately $400,000 in bribes from Yang. According to reports, after one dinner, Yang brought out a box full of cash from his car, which Chai accepted without hesitation. The next day, he bought a new car. Also in 2003, the conservatory invested in building a 3-star hotel called IUA. The entire interior decoration contract was given to the Sichuan Chao Wu Construction Group. Chai received about $95,000 in bribes from the group's chairman. Of course, Chai also controlled faculty promotions. So how did he exploit those who wanted positions but couldn't afford to pay? In 2007, a student named Zhang Shuijiao was about to graduate from the conservatory and worried about her future employment. She attended many job fairs, but few companies were hiring, and none needed someone with her music degree. Shuijiao felt disappointed and anxious, regretting her 4 years of college education. She envied her classmates who could stay on as faculty. Although Shui Jiao had good academic performance and was attractive, with only a bachelor's degree, staying at the school seemed impossible unless she could find someone to help. She heard she could discuss the matter with Vice President Chai. Taking a chance, Shui Jiao went to Chai's office. She was naturally nervous about meeting the school's highest-ranking official. Still, she gathered her courage to express her desire to stay, thinking the worst that could happen would be rejection. To her surprise, Vice President Chai didn't discourage her. Instead, he praised her boldness and told her to wait for his call. A few days later, Chai arranged another meeting with Shui Jiao, telling her that staying at the school would certainly cost money. Shui Jiao frankly stated that as a recent graduate with an ordinary family background, she had no money. Chai then suggested that those without money had other ways, clearly implying she could trade her body for career advancement. Hearing such a blatant proposition, Shui Jiao's heart raced and her face flushed. Actually, before meeting Chai, she had considered this possibility. After all, nothing in life comes free. However, Chai didn't force her. He left the choice to her. Shui Jiao found herself in a difficult position. She was barely 22, while Chai was 51, older than her father. If others found out about this arrangement, she would not only lose face, but be seen as someone who would do anything to get ahead. However, she rationalized that if one transaction could save her 10 years of struggle, maybe it was worth it. After this internal struggle, Sui Jiao decided to call Chai. That day, she dressed carefully and went to the IUA hotel near campus as arranged. What happened after they got a room need not be detailed. From that day forward, Shui Jiao became Chai's secret mistress. Unexpectedly, this relationship would last 10 years, the most beautiful years of a woman's youth. From an innocent girl at 22 to a woman of 32, under this old fox's influence, she learned to navigate the system and gradually became Chai's intermediary for receiving bribes. However, could someone like Chai be faithful to just one mistress? That was impossible. He had many women, not just one. Chai's first mistress at the conservatory was a teacher surnamed Qin. Her sacrifice earned her significant benefits. Chai gave the management rights of a large campus supermarket to Ms. Qin's relative, Mr. Wang. Naturally, Chai received a portion of the monthly profits. Ms. Qin also leveraged this relationship to help two close friends, Hao and Wei, secure positions at the school. They gave her approximately $26,000 in appreciation. Chai was generous enough to let Ms. Qin keep all of it as pocket money. According to rumors, Chai was witty and humorous, often making young women laugh. Moreover, he was generous and knew how to please people. No wonder women like Hui Jiao and Ms. Qin became infatuated with him. His greatest skill was maintaining relationships with multiple mistresses while getting these women to serve his interests, demonstrating his manipulative abilities. Reports suggested Chai had his own female army. Most notorious among them was the vocal trio of the conservatory. At that time, the vocal department had 3 female professors who all received promotions through sexual favors and became Chai's regular mistresses. They were Yang Wanqin, Fei Li, and Deng Fangli. Public records show these professors had impressive credentials. Deng Fangli graduated from the vocal department of Sichuan Conservatory of Music and later earned her master's degree from the China Conservatory of Music. She won numerous national vocal competitions. Fei Li was a soprano singer and graduate advisor. After graduating from the vocal department of Sichuan Conservatory, she joined the Sichuan Opera and Dance Theater as a solo performer. In October 2007, she returned to teach at the conservatory and was promoted to professor in 2016. Yang Wanqin was the head of the vocal department's teaching research group, a soprano professor, graduate advisor, member of the Sichuan Musicians Association, and national-level examiner for social music art qualification tests. These 3 professors were all the president's mistresses, and surprisingly, although they barely acknowledged each other on campus, they managed to coexist harmoniously. They even became Chai's effective allies in accumulating wealth. The annual admission season was their harvest time. Each student had to pay at least $30,000 for admission, and the conservatory admitted over 2,000 art students nationwide each year. Although everyone knew about the unwritten rule of paying for admission to the conservatory, after Deng Fengli took office, she brazenly increased the price from $26,000 to $37,000 per student. Reportedly, toward the end of her tenure, she and her family had immigrated to the United States, but she would still return to China annually during admission season to personally handle these transactions. Under Chai's protection, each member of his intimate circle earned substantial amounts of money. But Chai, wealthy and powerful, wasn't satisfied with just a few mistresses. Like an ancient emperor, he turned the conservatory into his personal harem. According to rumors, of the 88 female teachers at the conservatory, 87 had relationships with Chai. While this seems incredible and cannot be verified, one confirmed fact is that Chai built a 2-story villa at the foot of a mountain on campus grounds. Many female teachers from the conservatory would visit this location. Sometimes, several female teachers would appear simultaneously, leading to obvious implications. After the scandal broke, this place became known as Party Secretary Chai's Den of Debauchery. In fact, Chai's financial corruption and inappropriate relationships weren't unknown. People wanted to report him. However, because he had powerful protection, all complaints were suppressed. His ability to maintain his high position for many years certainly resulted from carefully cultivating relationships with superior officials. The conservatory's official website frequently featured photos of Chai with provincial and ministerial level leaders. Anyone who tried to report him would find their anonymous letter in Chai's hands within 2 or 3 days. During one faculty meeting, he even declared from the stage, "I know someone here is reporting me. They're sitting in the first 6 rows. You may cause me temporary trouble, but I'll make your entire family suffer for life." This statement caused an uproar in the auditorium. How could Chai be so brazenly arrogant at an accredited university with over 1,000 faculty and staff members? What gave him such confidence? In fact, Chai's arrogance stemmed not only from his powerful backing, but also from his skillful management of his personal network. He had his own eyes and ears throughout the school, effectively turning the conservatory into his private domain. Over the years, he systematically placed his relatives, friends, and children in senior positions at the conservatory. Shockingly, most of these relatives came from his hometown of Nanchang and only had high school educations. Under Chai's arrangement, these farmers became high-level educational administrators overnight. This blatant nepotism angered many school employees. People sarcastically called the conservatory Chai's estate, and not without reason. His daughter and brother held key positions, controlling crucial departments like finance and logistics. Thus, Chai's daily decisions were supported and protected by his family and friends. This network of beneficiaries enabled Chai's unchecked power. His nephew managed the conservatory library's purchasing department, a lucrative position ripe for exploitation. The nephew owned shares in a bookstore that conveniently became the library's supplier. He would purchase large quantities of irrelevant, outdated, or damaged books at low prices, then sell them to the library at inflated rates, pocketing massive profits. What's worse, while this operation was entirely under his control, it severely impacted the quality of the library's resources, affecting all students at the conservatory. However, Chai's period of unchecked power finally came to an end when the scandal broke. As mentioned earlier, there had been previous attempts to expose Chai's misconduct. Chen Lan, the head of organization department, Zhang Li, former dean of opera, and Yang Shiqing, former president of Tongsu Academy, had all filed formal complaints against Chai. Unfortunately, their efforts were too weak to challenge his authority. Not only were their complaints dismissed, but they also faced retaliation within the school. In 2012, when the Sichuan Provincial Inspection Team visited the conservatory, Zhang Li bravely reported Chai's nepotistic hiring practices. This action was essentially professional suicide. Multiple leaders took turns criticizing and educating Zhang Li. Meanwhile, Chai not only escaped unscathed, but was elected as a Provincial People's Congress representative a month later. Zhang Li was dismissed from her position. Completely disillusioned, she left for the United States to teach at the College of Music at Colorado State University. After witnessing such consequences, not everyone had an escape route like Zhang Li. To protect themselves, many chose silence and quiet endurance. Fortunately, the reports against Chai never ceased over the years, whether through anonymous letters or public online complaints. During Chai's tenure, the Sichuan Provincial Audit Office forwarded evidence of irregularities to the Provincial Discipline Inspection Commission and the Education Department's Disciplinary Committee at least twice. In July 2015, the Chengdu City People's Procuratorate took action, officially investigating former party secretary Chai Yongbai for suspected bribery. On July 3, 2015, Chai was taken from his office by provincial disciplinary authorities. Just 2 days earlier, on July 1st, he had been bragging to colleagues about receiving vice-provincial level benefits. After gathering evidence, the Chengdu City People's Procuratorate filed charges. From 2001 to 2015, defendant Chai Yongbai had abused his positions as vice president and party secretary to assist others in securing construction contracts, obtaining funding, arranging personnel appointments, and managing student admissions. In total, he accepted bribes worth approximately $1.4 million, including 2 kilograms of gold bars and 30 grams of gold. Of this amount, about $310,000 was actively solicited by Chai himself. After Chai's arrest, his villa near the school was revealed to the public. Besides discovering large amounts of hidden cash, investigators found numerous sex toys and aphrodisiacs in the villa's dozen-plus rooms. Through detailed investigation, Chai's inappropriate relationships with multiple female teachers were gradually uncovered. On September 11, 2015, after review, the Sichuan Provincial People's Procuratorate formally arrested former party secretary Chai Yongbai on suspicion of bribery. On February 2, 2016, according to the criminal law of the People's Republic of China, Chai Yongbai was convicted of bribery and sentenced to 11 years in prison. All his illegal assets were confiscated and turned over to the state treasury. Several of his mistresses also received corresponding punishments. After Chai's imprisonment, his daughter was sentenced to 18 months in prison, suspended for 2 years, for her involvement in the bribery scheme. His wife, unable to cope with the massive shock, fell seriously ill and faced permanent paralysis. The sentencing was widely celebrated, particularly among the conservatory's faculty and staff. Many celebrated with drinks, relieved to finally be free from working under the oppression of a sexual predator. Today, Chai Yongbai's name has been completely erased from the Sichuan Conservatory of Music. No trace of him remains on the school's website. The once respected party secretary has become an object of public scorn, remembered as a cultural defiler who wore a mask of morality while committing unconscionable acts. Looking back at Chai's academic journey, one can't help but sigh. He spent 8 years pursuing his medical school dream, but once he started chasing power and profit, he strayed further and further from his original aspirations, completely forgetting his initial dreams. The case had a significant aftermath. In June 2020, 3 female professors from the conservatory's vocal department were taken in for investigation by disciplinary authorities for admission corruption. These were the members of the infamous harvesting trio, including Deng Fangli and others. The incident once again sparked widespread public discussion. Why have arts institutions become hotbeds for admissions corruption over the years? The answer is simple. Compared to regular college admissions, many people view arts admissions as a shortcut, believing that money alone can secure admission. Thus, when young people enter these supposed temples of art, moral integrity has already been compromised. The frequent scandals involving Chinese celebrities in recent years can be traced back to this same lack of moral education during their formative years. While anti-corruption efforts have achieved significant results over the years, the persistent recurrence of such cases shows that there are still many people like Chai Yongbai who cannot control their greed and desires. Although we cannot control human nature, we hope that corruption can at least be kept away from the pure environment of educational institutions. And that's the case for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support our channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next videos.